It is Totally Spies time. And I'm very excited about that because I love Totally Spies. I just recently rewatched, I think, 2 seasons of the series. I think that this show is kind of so underrated in terms of the fashion they gave us in every single episode, sometimes multiple times per episode. It's genuinely crazy how many outfits and how many outfit changes they had in the entirety of the show. I kind of counted that like per episode it was like at least twice, plus the obviously catsuit outfits. So it's kind of really impressive because most of the time cartoons they have the same outfits. Sometimes they have this change up every few episodes, sometimes like once or twice a season, but usually we get the same kind of looks, we get the same recognizable outfits or whatever, but not with Totally Spies. I have compiled so many images, it's ridiculous. What I'm doing today is I'm gonna style the Totally Spies girls, and I'm also styling Mandy today because she's iconic and we can't just not style her. And also, this is kind of like a pitch for a show or for a adaptation, how I would style and art direct an adaptation of this show. I also would like to remind you all of some amazing gems, like this one, for example.
You're the one who's been creating the tsunamis.
Affirmalicious.
That means yes. Duh.
Is it a true tale about Frankie, dude?
Yeah, but Rooney, the dude was making the tsunamis.
What a woofie. Hot bits on the ashes. Scratch on over and nab a beefy.
Rock is extending an invitation to have a burger.
Scratch on over and nab a beefy. From now on, this is how I'm gonna speak. Scratch on over and nab a beefy. Affirmalicious. I love that so much.
Help, please! There, I see him!
I bruise easily. I'm like a fragile peach when I mishandle.
Me too. Anyway. But let's get to the styling here. I'm kind of compiled a bunch of images of girls from different episodes. For example, here's one. I love Sam's outfit here. This one. I still have this one. Look at them wearing masks. Repping good personal protection in these trying times. When they wear their catsuits, Sam wears green catsuit, Clover wears the red one, and Alex wears the yellow one. However, even though it's kind of natural to assume that they are probably going to be wearing a lot of those colors in their wardrobe, which sometimes they do, their personal wardrobe is very different from their spy outfits. So here, for example, you can see that like there's pink, which makes sense for Clover, there's green, which makes sense for Sam, there's yellow, which makes sense for Alex. But it doesn't really always stay that way. It's not one of those shows that sticks to like a very rigid color palette or styling, by the way. We're gonna talk about it when we talk specifically about the girls individually, but there's definitely tendencies, like they tend to wear more of one thing than the other, but it's not like anything is off limits, which is really fun with this show, that they're not like very one-dimensional in terms of even their styling, you know. Here, for example, I want you to pay attention to Sam's outfit because she's literally wearing a corset with jeans, which is very 2020, or yeah, I'd say 2020, maybe 2019, the end of 2019 and 2020. Also, these outfits, a couple more images. As you can see that like you kind of notice a pattern, for example, right? And you start thinking, okay, so Sam wears dresses more often, but then you see her wearing jeans or capri pants, and everyone else is wearing dresses, and then you think that, oh well, Alex is a sporty one, but then she wears this very feminine dress. So it's kind of, you know, they mix it up. It's not always the same stuff. Take a look at this outfit. I really love the amount of color that they use in this show. You're gonna notice it from all the other examples that I'm gonna show for individual characters. This show really tried to stray away from black and white, and I kind of, obviously they use it. It's not like they're not gonna use it at all, but it's just one of those things that I kind of noticed about this show is that they operate kind of like first year university students in art programs that, you know, usually you're not allowed to use black and white to show various degrees of colors, and you have to kind of mix primary colors or something like that to achieve the color that you're looking for. And it kind of seems like the showrunners were following that kind of rule book of trying to use a minimal amount of black and white and try to stick to colors to tell the story, which I very much appreciate. I like that they are not the type of characters that wear a lot of black. I mean, I have nothing against black. I have my moments when I wear all black all the time for no goddamn reason. But you can tell that that's not what I usually do. So I very much appreciate the way that they have gone about colors in this show. First of all, I'm gonna say that for all of them, in terms of shoes, that's why I have shoes right here before we even get into any of the characters, is because I'm trying to just mention the fact that these girls, they mostly wear shoes that don't really have platforms. They do have heels, but they are not platform most of the time. There's a few episodes where they do wear platforms, but it's not the main type of heel or shoe that they're leaning towards. There's a lot of bright shoes, a lot of patterns of this 90s flower pattern that you've probably seen everywhere. That's what we refer to it nowadays as the 90s flower, which is very much just a very childish kind of way of drawing a flower, which is a nice pattern that I really enjoy. And a bunch of hearts. And also they wear a lot of butterfly clips, which I am all here for this butterfly clip agenda, as you've probably noticed if you've seen my videos before. I kind of picked these two pairs of shoes, and also this one to kind of illustrate my point. They kind of lean towards more flatness at the front, very 90s approach to slingback kind of little shoe. This one is not with a sling back, but you know what I mean. Very dainty kind of shoes, heels, that's what they're kind of going for most of the time. Now, I'm going to talk about the setting. This is a very bright show. Even here in this like small little image, I didn't take a lot of images of like the show's surroundings, but you probably remember it, and especially like here in this image you can see that everything is made up of color. It's not similar to the way that our world is operating. There's not a lot of grays, there's not a lot of just concrete being concrete, a lot of colors working together. And of course there are some other places in the show that are kind of more realistic in terms of the colors, but I think that I would probably lean into this extremely bright world that they are using just because that's what I like, and I think that that's kind of one of the selling points of the show, one of the things that make it look unique. And I would try to do the same thing in terms of colors and go by the rule book of trying to create a world that doesn't use that much black or white as much as it uses colors, and only where you really need to use black and white, you'll use some, So I have some images. They live in Malibu, but they travel around the world, obviously, because they are international spies. So I kind of picked a few images that I think would look really good. Of course, there's going to be color correction and other things in post-production that would create this bright aesthetic, but I wouldn't want to rely on post-production that much because, to be honest, in my approach to projects in general, I don't use a lot of post-production. I try to get all the effects manually, try to get it in real time, just adjust the lights, predict the way that the weather is going to affect things, predict the wardrobe, the setting and everything, and try to use practical lighting and practical ways of changing the look instead of doing it post-production, because in post-production, if you just turn up the saturation all the way up or whatever, it's not gonna make your shot any more beautiful. Like, I can take this frame right now that I'm in, right, and turn up the saturation really high to make it look better, but instead I'm just gonna dress up in the way that I like. I'm going to adjust the lighting in my room, I'm going to make sure that my makeup looks the way that I want it to look like, and try to do everything in a way that makes this footage close to 100% of what I want from it. And of course there's a lot of things that you can't get in real time, you can't get through practical effects. There's a lot of things that are just too difficult to do practically, and I get it, but I would try and do as much as possible in the actual production instead of being lazy about it, For example, here there's a lot of realistic colors and stuff, but the blues make the surroundings look in tune with what the characters would be dressed as, because you have to think about how they're gonna look, what they're gonna look like when they're placed in their surroundings. They're not supposed to look ridiculous. They're not supposed to look like they're wearing a costume. They're not supposed to look over the top. They might look over the top if you compare them to our real world, but in their world where they're placed, they should look stylish, not insane. You know, like maybe all of these colors look insane to somebody in real life, but if I was placed in a cartoon, I would probably look pretty normal, to be honest, if the cartoon around me was drawn in the same style as I am, you know. So I have this place, this space as well, have this court with some colors and whatnot, this train station, which I mean, it doesn't have to be this saturated, it could be just like lighter pink even, but it has to incorporate subtly incorporate a lot of colors. It could also be achieved by just using, like, replacing the light bulbs in the space, you know, and doing a bunch of other things like working on props to achieve the same kind of effect without maybe spending as much money to transform places, because there's not a lot of spaces like this that you could just rent and film in without traveling all over the globe and trying to get it, you know, through filming in actual spaces that look like this 24/7. So you would probably have to augment a lot of spaces and build a lot of spaces, and I don't know what kind of hypothetical budget we're working with, but if we're talking about a good, pretty hefty budget, I would do the most with it in terms of surroundings, you know, for their rooms and stuff like that, and just in general. I thought that it would be interesting to just have these kinds of flowers everywhere, the same way as it's part of their logo and it's part of their outfits oftentimes. I think that this 90s flower pattern should be incorporated in a lot of things, but not too much, of course, not like to the point where it's ridiculous. I mean, I don't mind being ridiculous, but it just in general, I think that it looks really cute. Same with hearts. So I have another one that's just hearts, and for shots of their house and whatever, there's also, it's very California, Malibu kind of area, you know, looking buildings. And if you're filming in America, it's not that difficult to film something that looks close to it, at least. So let's move on to Sam. Oh, by the way, we're gonna talk about the catsuits. So I looked up catsuits. I would say that I would go with catsuits. I wouldn't dress them into something that's just kind of color related or whatever for their spy outfits. I would go with more of sport bodysuits looking things that make sense in terms of helping with sweating and whatever, like helping with temperature regulation and stuff like that, instead of going for something that is all about making them look attractive. Like it would still look cute, you know, but I would say that I wouldn't be going for those catsuits that are sold at Halloween stores. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like more sports related, it's things that people wear for bobsledding or something like that, but maybe make it out of materials that are for heat regulation, because I'm pretty sure I looked it up and bobsledding suits there are not very good at helping with the elements. Apparently it's just like regular spandex or something like that. It's just not made for temperature regulation. Maybe make them a little bit less latexy. I would make them still very bright. I want the colors to be very saturated, but I don't want it to be very glossy. Sam. So Sam is the smart one. I mean, all of them are smart, but this one is the brain of the group. She's smarter than the other girls in terms of just sciences and other things like that. It's hard to describe their fashion in very definitive terms. It's hard to say, oh, Sam wears this specifically, and Clover wears this specifically, and Alex wears this, because they do fluctuate quite a bit, and it's easier to say what they're more likely and less likely to wear rather than what they do wear and what they don't wear. In this case, I'm going to be focusing on things that are in line with their character, things that I've seen them wear in the show, and also things that they wore most often. So with Sam, I noticed that she wears a lot of cropped shirts, a lot of shirts that are kind of blouses that are cropped. She wears a lot of low-rise jeans and a lot of low-rise skirts as well. She wears a dress sometimes like this, but butterfly clips, literally like this. So I didn't put any images of it because just to look at me, this is what I would want her to have. Maybe not as many as I do, but like one or something. Another image, you can tell that, you know, another butterfly clip. This dress, I love this dress, so cute. For example, this is a good example of the type of skirts that she would wear. They're quite low-rise, usually quite long, not mini skirts as much. She's kind of preppy, but not quite. I would mix, to describe her, I would say that she is preppy and a little bit of like a hippie, plus maybe add a little bit of this girly, feminine energy in terms of her accessories and stuff like that. So I put a few outfits like this. This skirt is not really something that she would wear, but the top and the accessories is something that she would wear. Shirt with a corset, of course, because I love that she wore a corset. I couldn't find any green corsets that I really like for her specifically that much, but I did find this that kind of mixed this preppiness with a little bit of, this corset situation going on. Also dresses like this, so combining her outfits that have the blouse with a lot of frilly detailing going on and combining that with the dresses that she wears would kind of leave us with this type of outfit. A dress like this with this type of neckline. She does wear that quite a bit. Like, for example, this dress has a little bit of a dip. She wears that type of dress a couple of times. She wears quite a bit of turquoise and blue. Also a lot of pink, but not light pink as much as darker, more berry tone or purpley pink. Also this green dress, which is basically like the dress that I showed you where she's sitting on the lawn. It kind of looks like this. A lot of cropped cardigans, this type of shirt with a sweetheart neckline, this type of things where you have this low-rise skirt, corset type of top. This dress reminds me of the colors that she wears a lot. This looks similar to some of the dresses that she wore before, or like some of the colors that she wore before, for example this, but this one is more, it's obviously a dress, but she would definitely wear something like that. Same with this type of skirt, this type of dress, maybe not the pattern, but she does wear this type of dresses with like halter top neckline. So this one is an example of this pink shirt that she wears again. Of course it would be buttoned up instead of completely open. And I've put this dress here as well because it's kind of this color that she wears a lot, this type of pink or purplish color. It also reminds you of this one or this dress, except it's not green obviously, but it has this kind of shirt dress aesthetic going on. With Sam, she does wear quite a bit of green, but she also wears turquoise, she wears a lot of blue, she wears a lot of bright pinky purple color. Maybe even more so than any other color. I would say that green and purple, pinky purple, is what she wears the most, and I would try to incorporate those colors into her outfits more than the other girls, as well as like all of those frilly dresses with a little bit of a cardigan or something like that on top would be cute too. So when we come to Alex is when it's kind of unexpected because we all know that she's like the sporty girl, the sporty one of the group, but surprisingly she doesn't wear that much of sporty clothing. I would say that she kind of fluctuates between her own sporty tendencies as well as dressing up a little bit more like Clover and a little bit more like Sam from time to time, so like having a little bit more mature, longer skirts kind of preppy thing sometimes happening like Sam, and sometimes she has those daring outfits that are a little bit, yeah, maybe not daring, but they're more flirty kind of outfits like Clover. She's also the one that wears a lot of halter tops. She just wears the most out of everybody. So I did put a couple of those, like for example this top is literally similar to this one, except it's a little bit more red rather than brownish kind of brick red. Another thing that I noticed about her, oh, this suit obviously, I have picked up something like this that would be a little bit more like a modern look of that. I would definitely find something that was a little bit brighter, but I couldn't find anything that looked exactly like it. Just imagine that this is more of a bright green rather than greenish gray kind of color. She surprisingly wears a lot of dresses. Like this outfit is so Sam. You would see Sam wearing something like that for sure. You wouldn't see Clover wearing this, not because of the silhouette or because of what she is wearing in terms of the pieces, but the color is off. Clover is not oftentimes seen in green. I would say that's probably the least likely color for her to be wearing. There's a lot. Surprisingly, this entire show, they're all wearing a lot of capri pants. Wait, let me see how it's pronounced because I don't know.
Capri.
I think that's how I pronounced it. Okay, well, in any case, capri pants. There's so many of them. Look, this, right? Genuinely, I didn't know what to do because I couldn't find any cute ones. They're all ugly. Not because they can't be cute, but because it's just there's no pictures that were pretty at all. I kind of, oh god, the amount of time that I've wasted on looking for this capri pants that wouldn't look disgusting. It's just ridiculous. Look at this. Capri pants. These ones are not capri. These ones are. Just so many of them were capri pants. and for the love of me, I couldn't find anything that looked anywhere near this types of capri pants that she was wearing. I think I found this that was the closest, but it's not even short enough. So excuse me. Just imagine, use your imagination, because I don't know how else I can describe this. Just basically know that she wears a lot of capri pants, and I would find them or make them if I had to. But she does wear a lot of them. Same with a lot of like big pants. So I kind of put this outfit here because this is a little bit more inspired by her sportier side. Same with this pair of pants. It kind of reminds me of this outfit that she wore right here. Just having a crop top and some pants that are big and baggy will look a little bit like her. You kind of see a lot more variety than you would expect, because I think that when they're kind of described very generally usually. Maybe not described in the show itself, but when you kind of think of them, you think of these three things that they're kind of associated with the most. So Alex is the sporty one, for example, right? But she's also very clumsy. She's a really bad driver, so she's not this stereotype of a tomboy. She's kind of a mix of a tomboy with a very girly girl, which is great. I like when characters are not exact embodiments of the stereotype, you know. They kind of are stereotyped for differentiation when you explain them or introduce them outside of the show. For example, in their description, you know, if you have a description in like a magazine for kids or something. But they do have a lot more complexity to them, or I guess maybe not complexity but randomness. It depends on how you view the writing of the show, as good or not good, you know. In any case, we're moving on to Clover. Clover wears a lot more pants than I remembered. When I first thought of them, I thought of her as like very glamorous one, or maybe not glamorous but very fashionable one, and what came to mind was some dresses, mini skirts and stuff like that. But she does wear quite a bit of pants. So for example, this outfit or this one is very Clover, but it's definitely something that I've forgotten about in some kind of way. I don't know why I thought that she wore more dresses. That's just how I remember it from my childhood. But I guess she wasn't just wearing dresses and skirts. She wears quite a bit of pants. So this outfit, for example, a lot of pants, bright boots, go-go boots. So go-go boots as well. Like for example, this patterns and whatever, like she gets some interesting outfits. For example, this one that I showed first is quite interesting. Like it grabs your attention immediately when you see it on the screen, even though it's not as colorful as some other ones. It's definitely more interesting in terms of just having patterns, because they do use a lot of outfits that are just color blocking rather than pattern or some sort of illustration on the garments. For Clover, I've put some outfits like this. It's something that she would wear, but maybe not as often, because she does wear skirts and she does wear these type of shirts. Honestly, she has a pretty big range, so I wouldn't say that something is exactly out of the wheelhouse with her. I would say that she doesn't wear that much green. She doesn't wear that much sporty clothing as much as she wears big pants, for example. She wears big pants, but not sporty big pants. So for example, this type of look would be good for her, especially with this belt, bringing it back again to the flower motif. Having bright pants and a crop top is very much her MO. She does that a lot. I think that this type of cut of a shirt is very much her. It's kind of sleeveless. This types of shirts, of course, because it's literally, you know, it looks like this. It's very much her type of style. She does wear blue, she does wear pink, she wears orange. So this type of pants, I would say that this is literally her outfit. So these pants and this shirt buttoned up, because she is buttoned up in that image, would be literally this outfit. Basically this shirt and these pants would be that outfit. This type of outfit is very much Clover. I would say maybe the colors are not very Clover. I don't see her wearing green and blue that often. Blue is something that she does wear, but not in combination with green as much. And these shoes are great in terms of their cut, in terms of the front of the shoe being quite flat. But I would say that the color maybe is not as common for her to wear. But again, nothing is out of bounds with them in terms of what you could dress them as, because they're quite fashionable, and they have a big range. Each one of them has a big range of what they would actually wear. So this, for example, I like that this is kind of like a turtleneck but without sleeves again. She does wear a lot of sleeveless shirts like this with a turtleneck or a high neck, you know, and a mini skirt, which basically, yeah, it just looks like this outfit, maybe without the pattern, right? Once again, sleeveless, this type of shirt with a little bit of flowers, this pink with this belt would look great on her. Maybe not the crop jacket. The jacket would have to be not cropped because I don't think I've ever seen her wearing this high of a crop of a jacket on top of a crop top. This type of dress where there's some layering going on. I would say that more often than not she wears a shirt under the dress rather than on top of the dress. So I would say that if this outfit had the shirt under the dress, it would be perfect. But because it's on top, it's just a little bit off. She doesn't do that as often as other girls. She usually wears it underneath. You can see it in one of these images where they're just sitting talking to Jerry. Yeah, this skirt or dress or whatever the heck it is with these shoes is very... Actually, I think all three could wear it, not just Clover and Sam, Alex too. I think that this outfit, this bottom of the outfit would suit everybody in the show. Once again, I put some shoes that showcase this flat front of the shoe, very square or triangular toe of the shoe as well, because that's like what they're wearing the most. Okay, of course I showed this shirt, but also I think that if you really want to, I think she could pull off an outfit like this too, but this one is quite bright. I think that she would still it would still feel true to Clover. And now we're on to Mandy. She's gonna be the last one who we style in here. I love this shirt on her so much, just this shirt in general. I guess it's like see-through shirt on top of a long top. She wears a lot of purple, but it's not the only color that she wears. Also hair clip as well, but it's just like a regular straight hair clip, usually gold. So this outfit as well. See, Clover is wearing a dress that's on top of the short sleeve shirt. Mandy's the one who wears like this see-through shirts quite a bit. She's also quite preppy, so I would say that she's, if I were to describe her style, I would say that she's more of a prep with a little bit of 90s kind of edge to her. So her outfits are a little bit more elegant and incorporate a little bit more of those Tiffany & Co. girlies aesthetic, you know. So she wears a few shirts that are quite office-esque, something that you would see some high-end lawyer wearing. This outfit, for example, this white shirt with red, whatever the hell it's called, I honestly don't know what it is. It's like kind of a dress, but it's not really because the cut is so low. It's kind of a vest too. Vest dress, let's say it's a vest dress, I don't know. Here you can see that she's wearing one of those classic just white shirts they're all quite tight. They're not oversized shirts, they're definitely form-fitting shirts. This, for example, she does wear this berry color from time to time. It's still kind of adjacent to her purple signature color. So I have some shirts here that fall into this categories and work in a sense with her, but I wouldn't have them in black. I would have them in berry color, in purple, in lilac, any shade of purple really. A lot of Cher Horowitz outfits suit her. Like Cher kind of has that aesthetic that Mandy has, to be honest. Like they're really close in terms of what they wear. Maybe not color palette wise, but in terms of the styling itself, in terms of the styles that they gravitate towards. So for example, this outfit is very Mandy, a little bit of Sam. Do you remember that outfit where Sam wore a shirt under a vest, but Alex. But Alex wore it with pants, where here is with a skirt, which would be more of a Mandy move. I would say that the color scheme again should be a little bit adjusted, but it's just really hard to find anything in those purpley colors that are prep aesthetic for some reason. I found this shirt for that. Yeah, so like for example, this type of shirt, this type of outfit, maybe something else layered underneath. I don't think that Mandy would be wearing something with like a bra layered under. I think that she would have more stuff layered on top of it. A dress like this would work. This type of thing is very Mandy. That's literally what she wears, but just the leather part is red in the cartoon. She would wear something like this. Basically, yeah, just Cher's outfits in general. I really like her style. I like that. And you know what? Purple really suits her. It's a very difficult color to work with, I think, for most people, because it doesn't suit everybody, but she does look good in it. So I'm glad when they style her in purple because it does suit her very well. Okay, so these are my picks. I would like to hear what you guys think about. I have this video that I'm working on and it's taking quite a while, which is Sailor Moon video, all the senshis and styling them and whatnot. The issue that I have is that I have a lot to say about the 90s show because I'm watching the original 90s show. I have a lot to say about it because I didn't know anything about Sailor Moon except things that I remember from being way back when I was 3, you know, which the only thing that I remembered was transformations and the melody, the intro melody. So I have a lot of thoughts about that show. There's a lot to discuss, surprisingly, and I was thinking that I could do like a monster video of having styling and then also just talking about Sailor Moon in retrospect and just shows that come to look at as adults and re-examining what we've been watching as children and stuff like that. And I don't know if I should put it all like in one video, like a monster video, or if I should split it into 2 videos that have 2 different topics. Let me know if you're interested in it being together or separately, or if you're interested in only one topic and not the other, because I don't know whether people who are watching these videos, whether they're interested in both or if they just have interest in styling. Let me know. In any case, thank you for watching. I will be back with another styling video. Let me know if you want to see anything else, and I'll see you soon. Bye!